Hello everyone, welcome to the sample room. Today we're going to be sewing our two-piece waistband from our Workwear short. This is a great waistband. There is going to be elastic, there is a draw cord with buttonholes, and it's got all the things. So let's get into it. Now, since we're not using an actual button, to use our buttonhole foot, we have nothing to put in here. And usually this is how the machine lets it know where to stop and start the buttonhole. So we will measure our draw cord. So go ahead and get your draw cord. Mine is right here. Mine measures about 1.2 cm, so it's like half an inch. So I am going to make sure that my buttonhole just measures a few millimeters bigger than that. You're going to want to add between 1/16 and 1/8 of an inch to the draw cord width measurement, and that's going to be your buttonhole width measurement. And then from there, you're going to take your buttonhole, I can get it out, your buttonhole foot, and you're going to put that measurement right where your button should be. And you should definitely test this out on a scrap piece of fabric before you sew your buttonhole on your actual short, just to make sure it can fit the draw cord, it can go in and out really nicely, and there's just like a little bit of tolerance there for the draw cord. So test it out, make sure it looks good, and then go ahead and do the buttonhole on your short. Yay! Okay, buttonholes look good. One of mine kind of looks lower than the other. Oh well. I kind of had it angled. Whoopsie. That is okay. We are now going to fold our buttonhole in half, and we are going to clip it. And then we got some buttonholes. Let's go. Now that we've got our buttonhole all nice and pretty looking, let's sew our waistband together. So, sorry, I'm cleaning up my buttonholes. We are going to put right sides together, and let's get our other waistband. This waistband is a little confusing because I created it specifically so you can, make this waistband from anything. You can, make this whole short from anything. So this waistband is cut in two pieces. This first piece is going to go on the front like so, and then the back piece will connect to obviously the front side seam here. So we're going to sew those two together now. And obviously I haven't serged these pieces as well, so I'm going to do that as well. Okay, I have attached my waistband, and I've also serged, but also I've pressed open my seam allowance here, and leave it open, don't top stitch it. And we are next going to attach the waistband. So we're going to fold our waistband all the way around, and you just need a few pins here just to put it in place. Now we are going to sew our waistband, but it's gonna get a little tricky because we have to also put in our elastic and our draw cord. So first we're going to start with the front. We're going to follow our front notch here, which is the center front of the waistband, and we're going to align it to the center front of our short. So, and then make sure your buttonholes are touching the right side of the short. So go ahead and pin that. And make sure the front of the waistband is also pinned as well as the back, wrong side of the waistband or the back side. Okay, next we're going to align our waistband seams to the front seam here. And then we're also going to make sure we catch our pocket bag in this seam as well. It's gonna get a little thick here. So tell your sewing machine to get ready. And then also take out the pins that are underneath just as you go. So I'm gonna pin one more, catching that pocket bag. Beautiful. I'm gonna do one at the back here as well. I'm gonna do the same to the other side. So you should also have notches on your back waistband to align where your back side seam is. So go ahead and pin that as well. Okay, and then your waistband should fit perfectly to the short. It's the same length as the waistband. So now let's go ahead and pin where your dart is and make sure you pin your dart facing the center back. I think it's good to use more pins than necessary here. There's a lot you have to catch and you really don't want to have to go back and redo this seam. So now we are going to leave the center back open. And how I like to make sure I remember, because my memory is terrible. Well, basically an inch on either side, 2.5 cm on either side of the center back rise seam, we're going to stop. So I like to put two pins in. I will never forget that. So I'm going to do this just on the other side here. So we're going to start on either side, go all the way around and finish on the other side. Okay, we did it. And then we kept our hole at the back. I'm going to go ahead and give this a good press. I'm going to press it open and then I'm going to press everything down. Okay, now we are going to find our elastic. Let's measure some elastic. So take your elastic. It should be 4 cm wide and the short should be sitting right at your belly button. So go ahead and measure, or you can put on the short and see kind of like where it hits you, because all of our bodies are different. So do that, see where it hits you, and then where the middle of the waistband is, figure out what point that is on your body. And sorry if my head's cut off. And then go ahead and take just a bunch of elastic and put it around your body. obviously do that, do it without pants. And so measure that, and you can also do this with a measuring tape. I just find that it's easier to do it with the elastic. So measure around where your belly button is. I'm just gonna do this along with y'all. Put the end of the elastic right in the center of your body, or I'm going to align it right on my belly button, and then overlap that about 1 to 2 cm, if that makes sense. See what I'm doing? Overlapping, center, overlap, and just make sure you know how much you're overlapping it. And tightness wise, I don't really like a tight waistband. I just like things loosey-goosey on my body. So I'm doing it kind of just like barely hugging my body. And what's great is we have the draw cord. If we want to put it tighter, we can. So I would say err on the looser side. So just having it rest right against your body is going to be the most comfortable, I think, for this short. Okay, so now overlap the top 1 to 2 cm. Just make sure you know. I'm going to do like 1.5. And then put a pin. Right where it's at. But then don't get the back of it in. So pin it right where you have cut it. And then we're just gonna cut right here. Okay, we have our elastic and let's cut it. Amazing. Now we're gonna put our elastic into the short. And we do this by, if you have a safety pin, this is your time to use it. Put the safety pin through about 1 inch deep from the end of your elastic. Give it a nice little tug, make sure it's secure. Close it. And we're going to run the elastic through the back of our short. And so we take our open end of our waistband and we run it through. And what's great about the safety pin is that I can feel it so much more, and I can basically push it through with the back end of the safety pin and then pull it through with the front end of the safety pin. So I'm just gonna inch my way all the way around. Once you start getting to the opposite side, I would start watching to make sure you don't lose the loose end of the elastic. That would be terrible. And also make sure it's all parallel to the front of the short. It's not twisted at all. So as you're going, make sure it all is looking really nice and neat. I mean, neat as you can be for an elastic short. Yay, we've made it. Try and be gentle as you pull the elastic on the last part of its journey. She's been through a lot. And hold both ends of the elastic and kind of like distribute it a little evenly. I mean, yeah. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then, see, mine already got twisted. Make sure they are not twisted. So, okay, mine looks and feels good. So, and again, triple check your work here because it is really hard to undo what we're about to do. So, undo your safety pin. And remember that overlap measurement that we just did? So mine's like 1.5 cm. Pin the overlap. Okay, pinned the overlap. Just triple checking. Okay. Now we are going to, feel free to pull this a little bit. We're going to run a bunch of stitches up and down vertically, starting at the top, going on to the bottom. Do this up and down like 12 times with just single needle, single stitch, just to make sure that this is secure as possible. Sometimes I even like to run that stitch over the edges of the elastic, but it's not necessary. That will really just secure your elastic together. So let's do it. Look at that. Super secure. Obsessed. I might have gone a little overboard, whatever. Okay, next, I would try them on. See if, you know, the elastic feels good. See if everything is like laying really nicely. And then once you're feeling good, let's do the draw cord. So similar to the elastic, we are also going to take our safety pin, put it through our draw cord, and I would measure the draw cord, similar as you did with the elastic. Put it around your waist, near your belly button, and then see how much extra you want to be able to tie. And I cut a little bit longer than what I need, just in case. Okay, so, and then for this, we want the draw cord on the outside of the elastic, because the draw cord is going to come through the buttonholes. And we only technically need to do this on one side, two sides, so 2 halves, because it will just come out the buttonhole. So and have it come out the buttonhole. Yay. And then do the same for the other side. Make sure you're keeping it as flat as possible. So okay, so once both of your draw cords are through, make sure they are pulled all the way through and they are even. Now let's close up our back. Finally. So we're going to do, the same thing that we did when we stitched the rest of it closed, except we just need to be a little bit more careful this time of the elastic that is in there. So, and then try and make this as flat as possible as you are sewing. Okay, let's sew that shut. And right here, I'm using pins that are parallel to the seam allowance here, just to keep that elastic as forward as possible, so I'm not sewing on top of it. Last but not least, we are going to run a top stitch along the waistband to make this look super clean. So we're going to fold our waistband seam allowance down and we are going to pin. It's going to be a little bulky, but it's going to make everything lay flat and it's going to, just clean everything up on the inside. And as you're going, there's obviously ease for the elastic, so just stretch it a little bit if it gets a little bunchy while you're sewing. As I am sewing the top stitch, I am pulling it just a tad to make sure this is flat while I sew to get a really nice clean looking top stitch. Okay, last but not least on the waistband, we are going to make sure our draw cords are aligned the same and right at center back. I hate when draw cords come out in the wash. It is the most infuriating thing to me because it's so easily fixable. We are going to do a small bar tack right to hold in our draw cord, and I can feel it right here. And maybe I'd want to center it in the middle of our waistband. That's usually standard. So I don't know if you can see this a little bit more. There she is, right here. So I'm gonna do a bar tack, and this is totally up to you because obviously it's on the outside of your garment. I'm going to run a bar tack, aligning it to the center back rise seam, and I'm gonna go up and down just to keep it in place. Okay, I'm also going to make my bar tack a little bit bigger than the bar tack we did on the pocket, just so it looks nicer. I think it will match the proportion of the waistband width. So my machine is at, I don't know if you can see, it's at a stitch length of 0.5 and a stitch width of 2. So let's do it. Looks so cute. I'm thrilled with that. And I'm thrilled with the idea of not having a lost draw cord in the wash. Thank you so much for watching our video of how to sew the waistband on our workwear short. We will see you next time.